Okay, so in this video, we'll basically learn the very basic concepts of how to play with financial calculator. So most of you may be taking finance classes in undergrad or grad level, or maybe you work in the industry. You have to calculate time value of money, a lot of other stuffs. So this video will help you to know the basic functionality of the financial calculator. So there will be a series of 3 videos. In this video, I'll only talk about the basic functionality. In the next 2 videos, I'll talk about how to calculate time value of money and how to calculate time value of money when you have annuity payment and when you have different cash flows in different time periods. So like uneven cash flows. So watch out this video and the next 2 videos so that you know the basic functionality, you know how to calculate time value of money and some related concepts of time value of money when your payments are annuities, or calculate time value of money and relative concepts when your payments are not annuities. That means you have different amount of cash flow at different period of time. So your financial calculator should look like this. So sometimes you buy professional version, which should look like this. Sometimes you buy student version, which should look like this. They exactly work same way, look different, and they cost different. So just buy which one you like most in terms of money, in terms of look. So starting point. If you look carefully, the financial calculator, this area looks like a regular calculator, right? And the area above this area doesn't look like a regular calculator. To be specific, these 2 rows are very specific to financial uses, like time value of money calculation, something else. These are basically mathematical operators. So we'll go over all those buttons, functionalities that we need to know to work in the field of finance. So if you want to start the calculator, this is the button. If you press it, it will be on. Now, these 2 buttons is basically scrolling. In the next 2 videos, we may input a lot of cash flow data. So when you input cash flow data, we will need this scroll to go up and down to look at what is our cash flow 1, what is our cash flow 2, what is our cash flow 3. Then if we got confused what was our cash flow 1, we can go back by scrolling up. Just to give you a very small example. Let's say we want to go here, we hit 5 as our cash flow 0. Now we want to enter cash flow 1, scroll down. 10, cash flow 1. Now we forget how much we input for the cash flow 0. Did you put it right or wrong? Go back. So this is basically scroll up and down to look at cash flows. Now let's clear. So this is the button we actually use to enter any input. Okay. So in cash flow, if we say 10, we are entering cash flow 10 or cash flow 0. So this button is used to enter any input. CPT, this means compute. So let's say we inputted cash flow 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we want to calculate net present value, something like that. So we have to hit this button so that we are actually telling the calculator we are done with all of our inputs. Now you calculate our desired output. So going forward, I'll show you what is the usage of this CPT button. It means compute. All right. This is one of the most interesting button, which I don't know, like you will not see in regular calculator. So this means second. What does it second mean? If you look carefully the entire calculator, you can see that for each button, for most of the buttons, there is a value or there is an input on the face of the button, and there is an input on the top of the button. Let's say hypothetically, for this button, on the face it is written 7, On the above, it is written data. Okay. Let's say about this button. On the face, it is written ln, which is natural log. On the above, it's written ex, which is exponential. If we want to use what is written on the face, we just use like a normal calculator. But if you need the functionality of what is written above, then we have to hit second button. Let me show you. So let's say I want to do the natural log of 2. I hit 2, natural log. So natural log of 2 is 0.69. Now let's say I want to exponent 0.69. Hit second first. We get back to 2, right? So ideally, if you want to do natural log, we just hit this button directly. But if you want to do exponential, we have to hit the second first, then hit this button. In short, if we want to get the functionality of what is written on the face, just hit the button. If you want to get the functionality of what is written on above, hit second, then hit the button. So this is the benefit of second. Cash flow, CF. I think already showed you. If we have to input cash flow, we have to go there. We have to input all of this cash flow. So this button has a lot of implications for next 2 videos. NPV. In finance, we call them net present value. So if we need to calculate the net present value, we have to hit the compute, then hit NPV. So this means net present value. IRR, internal rate of return. If we have to calculate IRR, we have to hit CPT, then IRR. So NPV and IRR is for upcoming videos. So right now, just put it aside. We just need to know NPV means net present value, IRR means internal rate of return. So this is something you can think about backspace in terms of the keyboard we use on the laptop or desktop. So let's say I input 55 and I realized, no, I did not make the right input. It should be 50. So this is the usage of this right arrow. You can think about a backspace, okay? Now I want to add 50 with 75, but I just added like this. Oh no, not 45, 75. Clear, 75, hit enter. So ideally, if you make any wrong inputs and you did not hit the operators, that means division, multiplication, subtraction, addition, then hitting this button means you can backspace 1 digit at a time, okay? 1 digit at a time. It will not work right now because I already get the results. 1 digit at a time. But if you want to clear the entire input, hit this clear button. Make sense? If you make any wrong inputs but did not press the operator, if you want to delete 1 digit at a time, this is the button you need. If you want to delete the entire amount, this is the button you need. Clear. Okay. This N means number of period. Next video, we're gonna do a lot of time value of money problems. We'll need this. Give you some heads up. When we do time value of money problems, we used to have some expiration date, let's say 5 years, 10 years, something like that. So depending on that, we have to decide the number of frequency for the transaction. So in next 5 years, we may make monthly payments. So each month we're gonna make payments for next 5 years. So that means the number of transaction, number of frequency of transaction is 5 times 12, which is 60. So this N gonna be 60. So if we say 60, this is the N. So this is basically number of transaction, or in other words, you can think about number of compounding period. So which you're going to talk about next class, number of compounding period. This is the interest rate. So if we make an investment that has 5% rate of return, this is the interest rate or rate of return. One thing we have to be careful. When we are using financial calculator, and our interest rate is 5%. We just need to hit 5. So financial calculator will assume this 5 is basically 5%. In Excel or in regular calculator, we have to hit 5% or 0.05. But in financial calculator, 5 is basically 5%. Present value is the discounted value of all the cash flows. Payment, each transaction period, what is the fixed amount of money we are either paying or receiving. Future value of any cash flows in a future time. So these 5 buttons we'll use a lot detail in the second video. So watch out for that one. But this row and that row, like second row and third row, is really, really used in finance to calculate in time value of money or relevant work. So this is a percentage. This is like a square. So these are all like mathematical operator. So let's say if I do 25 and do that square root, sorry, not square, it's square root. So if I do 25 and hit that, I'm going to get 5. This is the square. So if I have 5 and hit square, I'm going to get 25. Square root, square. Hit the value you want to do square root and square, and then hit one of these button. This is 1 over the value you are using. So let's say I hit 5. 1 over 5 should be 0.2, right? Or 20%. So that will give you 1 over 5. Let's say I press 10, 1 over 10, which is 0.1, right? This is division, mathematical operator. This is some mathematical operator which we don't need for finance. Parentheses, parentheses, y to the power x. So this is really, really intriguing. So basically, sometimes we do 5 to the power 2, which we have it here, right? So if we want to do 5 to the power 2, which we have it here. But sometimes we have to do 5 to the power 3 to the power 4 to the power 5. So we have a value which we want to raise to a power more than 2. In that case, we're going to need that. So let's say we want to do 5 to the power 3. 5 to the power 3. 125. Let's say we want to raise 5 to the power 4. 625. This is basically if you want to raise a number more than power 2, then you're gonna need this button. I think I already showed that natural log and exponent. This is all number pad 1 to 9. Mathematical operators. This NPR, NCR is basically permutation and combination. If you want to do statistics class, this is gonna be helpful for you. And then we have talked about clear work. We talked about memory. This is formatting. If you look carefully right now, all of the calculations we are doing are presented in terms of 2 decimal point, right? In finance, we prefer 4 decimal for sure, at least for sure to 4 decimal. So if you want to increase 2 decimal to 4 decimal, how can you do that, right? Hit second. Here, formatting. Hit 4 to enter. That's it. Now all raised to 4 decimal. So I repeat, hit second, hit formatting. Now the decimal point you want, 4 or 6, enter, here work. So that's it. So this is really cool stuff. Like if you want to raise your decimal places. This is for plus minus. Let's say you want to input 5 minus 5. That's it. You can reset. Now this has a really, really good implication. Like if you look here, this is the equal button, and on above answer, ANS. So let's say I want to add this value. So I multiplied 5 with 5, I got 25. This is one of the result I got from one calculations. Now I want to add this output with a certain number, let's say 100, right? 125. Now I cleared. Now I came across 52 and I want to add with 125, which I just calculated, but I forget the number. How can I do that? Click second, answer. That's it. So ideally, answer stores the last value you calculated or generated. And if you forget what was your last value you calculated or generated, you can just click second plus answer. It will give you that value. Now you know 55 plus you forget what was your output from the last calculation, second answer. That's it. So that's all. So in the next video, we'll mostly go over these 5 rows. We'll talk about begin, end, what does it mean. So watch out for the next video and feel free to comment if you have any questions. Thank you.